I'm standing here in Electric Ladyland, a museum of fluorescent art. I'm standing here with the owner. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Nick Padalino, and I built this museum a long time ago. I originally come from New York, and I live in Amsterdam since 1986.
And the museum, you have the museum since 86?
No, I have a museum since 1999. In 1987, I opened the gallery upstairs, Electric Lady, and in 1999, I opened the museum Electric Ladyland, first museum of fluorescent art down here. So it's been 10 years. In April 19th, it'll be 10 years.
So what is fluorescent art exactly?
Fluorescent art is fluorescent paint and fluorescent substances are things that emit light themselves. Like regular paint, the light goes on and it reflects into your eye. Fluorescent paint, the invisible ultraviolet energy goes into the paint, the atoms move, and the light comes out of the paint. That's what fluorescence is. So fluorescent art is art that uses paint or pigments that emit light through the energy of ultraviolet black lights.
You mentioned the energy. Could you actually feel it?
You can not physically feel it, but there is a physiological feeling to it. There is a special feeling that you have in your mind when you view these colors. I'm not sure if it's the effect of the colors themselves, the energy, or the feeling that you have from viewing the colors. But there is energy that's emitted, and that you can have a physiological reaction. I personally can't feel it. It's not something you could feel on your skin. It's more something you can feel by looking at it.
There are also fluorescent lights in nature.
Oh, yeah.
Fluorescent.
It's called bioluminescent. That's the problem where you have the word, because it's not called fluorescent. Bioluminescent is the word in Latin. Bio means living, and luminescent means light. So it literally translates into living light. It's all used for mating or for defense or for attracting food and things like that. It's not wasted. We use it for things like art and entertainment and stuff, but nature doesn't have such.
I hear that rocks can be fluorescent.
Yeah, that's what all this paint was made with in 1933. The first fluorescent paint was made by a man named Robert Schweitzer, and that was in Berkeley, California. And about 10 or 15 years later, him and his brother formed a Day-Glo company, which is the most famous company in the world. That was formed right after the Second World War. But they started working with this paint in 1933, and Robert Schweitzer and his brother, their father was a pharmacist. He had a drugstore, and they would go into the father's back store in the room and look at all the chemicals, and that's how they found some of the first fluorescent organic chemicals. And when they were experimenting with minerals, they crushed these minerals up, and in 1933, they mixed them with wood varnish in the family bathtub. His wife was very happy. And there they made the first batch of fluorescent paint. That was a very long time ago. But this is all synthetic phosphors. This is not minerals. Only after about 5 years, they started to formulate synthetic phosphors. Because the minerals are very beautiful, but they're about 1/20th as bright as the paint. So that's the problem. There would have never been a revolution with fluorescent paint if it was all made with minerals, because they would have been so dull that most people would have never seen the brightness of it. You have to see the minerals in special conditions, in the dark, without any ambient light, and no paint around at all, just rocks.
What artists do paint with fluorescent?
It's not used that much anymore. It was never used that much by artists. In the 60s and the 70s, there was a couple of artists, Joseph Stella in New York, but they weren't even showing them with black lights. It was just because it was a different pigment. It never. I've been writing a book for the last 2 years. I'm going to have it published in England at the end of the year. It's called Fluorophobia, the Social Stigma. And that's a lot of this feeling there. After the 1960s, when it became very known for a lot of different things, it was never accepted as any kind of anything serious anymore. Only used in in the Mazo for backdrops with in parties and blacklight posters.
Like a trick.
Yeah, like amusement, not art. That's why I made the first museum of fluorescent art here. Not because it was first, but because it was the first time when people would understand that it was art. And another big reason is all the fluorescent paint that they make, they claim that it's it doesn't last long and it fades very quickly. So it's not used for any kind of. All this paint I make by myself, so it's not the same situation. All of this paint I use powdered pigments, and I mix them in blenders. It takes about an hour to make 1 liter.
Well, it's been very interesting. Thank you for the interview.
I think so.